guess what? We're all going to forget what happened. I mean, some of us won't, but what happened at the Capitol, right? A lot of people forget that. So many traumas are hitting us all the time, especially the last 4 years, that it's more than we can even hold on to. But we do remember this administration, these Democrats, they did this for us. Look how amazingly fast this COVID shots are coming in now. It's absolutely astounding, the numbers. By the way, I was able to finally schedule mine today.
Oh, great. Yeah, April 19th now for everybody.
Yeah. Well, but getting the email that says you can now, you know what I mean? It's coming. It's coming. My daughter actually got hers first before mine, which kind of slays me. But
I'm trying not to think about it. I told Michael was getting excited about it last night, and I said, I'm not going to think about it. I don't want it. I know.
You signed up, right? You signed up on the website. Okay, you'll get an email. But anyway, just looking at that, it's kind of incredible, because if you look at what the previous administration left, they had no plan. There was no plan in place even for when the vaccines were going to become available. So if we can focus on what have you done for me lately, kind of, what have people done that helps you in your bottom line? I mean, one of the problems President Obama talks about, one of the things they didn't do well was in the things that they were able to do right after they took office. It took too long for people to see the good that came out of the legislation. And it happened like month by month on a paycheck. It wasn't a big old fat check and account, which is what people need to see. It's kind of like children, like they need to see immediate consequences. The younger the child, Americans are like that. We have the attention span of a gnat, and we need to, we need to see these things. But again, the culture part and those passionate voters who burn so hot, how do we get us some of those? What can we do to get that? Because looking around, it's true that he was able to fire up this. And there's going to be somebody else who's going to follow him. If it's not him, there's going to be somebody else, Tucker Carlson, all the other usual suspects.
But I don't think you're right. My guess is that it will not work because they don't have the Trump backstory. They could latch on to a history that they believed was legitimate. I remember when the big thing was Trump versus Merv Griffin. Who's been in the grave for I don't even know how many decades now, but he was already Trump. There was Trump the board game and the books and then The Apprentice, and he had this angle of reality television, which was able to convince a lot of people that what he was saying he was about was real, because so many people buy into that, that's a whole, as a television producer, we can have another conversation about that. But nobody else has that. Cruz doesn't have that. Holly doesn't have that. Nobody has that. Potentially the closest thing would be Ivanka or Trump Jr. I'm more worried about another person from that little clan coming forward, because so little is expected of them that everybody just buys in. And
the brand is already built, right? The brand is there and people already know them. They know their story. The sheep will follow,
Yes, but I will say, speaking to your point about people getting tired of things, and we've been under so much that great calamities could befall us and they're forgotten in a week. Of course, I think that Biden made the right move when he, assumed office, which was we could not focus on the Capitol riots. We just had greater issues to deal with. But I think that was the smart move, because I think bombarding people 2 years before midterms with that imagery will exhaust them. But if we sort of tuck that away for a little bit and let it sort of start creeping out, say more towards the end of this year, and that will probably or potentially be the time when trials start. and there's massive coverage and there's people speaking out. Yes, I believed Trump. I did it because he told me to. And that, if I were producing the midterms, I would say put all of that under the pillow for now, and let's start stoking that down the road, or people are gonna they're gonna be wiped out. They're not gonna care anymore. But I hope that the Democrats are smart enough to really play that card. And it's not even bullshit. It's completely legitimate. I mean, it's a huge arrow in their quiver that if they use it properly, I think they can alienate a lot of Trump supporters from the Republicans. That's my.
I'm not sure it changes minds. That might be something, this might be a topic for another day, but I'm not sure it changes minds because the positive messaging tends to change my, at least in the last election, they, based on the polling, which who knows how correct that was at all, didn't have as much effect. I mean, the negative didn't have as much effect as the positive. The he only pays this much in taxes didn't hit well. What did hit well, though, was a fellow Republican, Cindy McCain, saying, I'm now with Biden. And
Did it?
Yes.
Because of Arizona? Because of.
That landed well. That landed well. That changed minds. And that John McCain was good buddies with Biden. That changed that. It's another Republican speaking, you know, it's a proxy essentially, but it's a Republican speaking that way because we're so divided. If I say something negative about them, it's automatically discounted as fake news. It's just, it's not true. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so what can we say that is believable?
Well, I will point out that we do have video of white policemen having the shit kicked out of them,
Yes.
screaming as they're being crushed in doorways. And that is something more than taxes, affairs. You know, I would guess that would make a difference with sensible conservatives.